Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota, and I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class. Welcome. Today is December 7th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Central Time as I'm broadcasting to you live. I'm a little off because I drank some water this morning and I swallowed wrong. So forgive me for my, shaky start here. But I have a very fun card to share with you today. I actually have 3 versions of it. And it is featuring a suite in the annual catalog, the 2022 through 23 annual catalog. So let's go down to the desktop and take a quick peek at this suite. This is called the Hues of Happiness suite. It's on pages 108 through 109 if you actually have a catalog in your hands. You can locate these products in our online store as well. So is that the right one? Nope, this one here. So if you want to shop for some products, you can go to my blog at stampyourartout.com and click shop. So these products are so pretty. Very popular suite, by the way. It's so popular that it's featured on the front of the catalog. And my all-star group, a group of demonstrators that I team up with each and every month, is featuring this one for our blog hop, which is kicking off today, again on December 7th. This whole month of December, you can access this suite by purchasing from one of the 12 of us. A minimum order in the US for myself, it's $50. And then $50, and then you get the suite for free with your order. So, yay. Otherwise, you can purchase the suite by visiting my website, clicking on shop, going down to tutorials, and you can access it there. I want to show you some very fun stuff with this, but first, I want to show you another version of this card. And this one here is the same type of fold that I'm going to show you today, and it's featuring some of our new product. This is a sneak peek from the upcoming mini catalog that begins in January for our January through April 2023 catalog. And it's actually, this paper, by the way, is a freebie. The stamp set and the accessories are featured in there. So let me show you the designer paper really quickly here. Again, you can earn this. This is a freebie. And there are 2 of each of these double-sided sheets. I'm sorry I'm so off, you guys. It really is hard to go live and hope that you don't choke while you're talking. I can't believe I swallowed water wrong today. But very fun, farmish related images and pretty summery kinds of scenes and stuff. I just love that this card allows you to show off scenery type of designer paper. And that's the main reason why I designed this 3-panel scenery Z-fold back years ago. This is a wider version of it. This allows you to feature 8.5 inches of it instead of just the 6 inches. I think back in the day when I did some experimenting and kind of created my own little card here with this size, by the way. This features 6-inch wide paper. I did it because of this beautiful, I think it was called something frost paper, and it was just gorgeous. Like, I didn't want to cut into it. So again, this is a sheet that you wouldn't necessarily want to cut apart, right? Now, the paper that I'm going to show you today comes from the Hues of Happiness, like I said, and I'm going to grab that really quick. So these are the papers. Now, you could cut this into small pieces, but because of the featured suite today, I just wanted to show as many flowers as I could, and I thought, let's bring back the 3-panel scenery Z-fold card, and then we can show off as much of these flowers as we want. And then I thought, let's see if we can make it bigger. So I'm going to alter the directions and show you different ways that you can show off any designer paper that you think just doesn't need to be cut, right? Okay. So let's first give a big thank you to Trisha Josephs and Lisa Marshall. Trisha Josephs is on YouTube with us live. She's my moderator. She's there to answer questions, lead you in the right direction, point you to different places to help you out, answer your questions along the way. Lisa Marshall is doing the same on Facebook. And so, yay. Thank you so much, ladies, for being with me. You really helped me out. It's fun to have you on my team. What else do I want to talk to you about before we get started here? Oh, if you comment, and a lot of you are doing that, you get entered into a prize drawing. So comment, just say who you're, where you're from, how long you've been crafting, how long you've been watching my videos. If there's a favorite project or a technique that you like to do, a favorite fun fold, that sort of thing. So I think that we're gonna, I'm just checking everything out here, make sure I got all of this done. Oh, this time today, the blog post is gonna go live a little bit later. Normally it goes live about an hour after I start, but today it's gonna go live about 4 hours afterwards. So at 3:00 p.m. Central Time, you're going to be able to click on the link that's currently in the YouTube description. There's a link there. That will be live. You'll be able to see the photos of the projects. You'll be able to see measurements, the supplies. You'll also be able to see this video embedded there. So hang on, hold tight, and just check back in 4 hours so that you can see it all. And you'll be able to follow the blog hop that's connected to it. So you scroll down. This is how blog hop works. You scroll down, and around my signature area should be names of other Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. You click on their names, and it will take you to their blogs and the projects that they created with this suite. And we have some really fantastic artists in our group, so you're going to want to check that out. I think. Oh, the last thing I want to cover is this, the measurement and supply sheet. So let's bring you to the computer. Oops, click away. There we go. Okay, so there, you can take a screenshot of this, or you can wait until the blog post goes live at 3 p.m. Central Time, and you can print it off from my blog post. You can see the measurements. They're very basic. In other words, I did not put specifics because we have 3 different kinds of cards that we're showing today. And so I just wrote down the Hues of Happiness designer paper, and then your base cardstock, your sentiment panel, and then other cardstock pieces that you may want to bring in, like the basic black and basic white. You can see all the supplies are listed there. And if you print this off of my website, you'll be able to click on those different supplies, and it will take you to those items in the online store. All right, let's start. Let's bring in the cardstock first. We're going to start by cutting cardstock. I'm going to do some basics here. And again, I'm so sorry. I'm just kind of off. I keep thinking I'm going to start like having issues with my voice. Have you guys ever done that where you swallow wrong? I'm sure we all have. But boy, that was kind of scary today. Okay, we are going to cut our cardstock that's 8.5 by 11. We're going to cut it this direction at the 5.5 inch mark. So instead of doing it this way at 5.5 inches, which cuts your cardstock in half, so you can get 2 cards, you're only going to be able to get 1 card from a sheet. But that's why we can fit more paper on it, because it's longer. So we're positioning it this way to 5.5, and we're going to cut, and then we're going to score. So you can use this on other parts of the card. Hang on to that in case you want to use it for layers and that sort of thing. Okay, so one direction, we're gonna cut. We're gonna score at 3 1/16 of an inch. All right, 3 1/16 of an inch is right beyond the 3. So it's that tiny little mark there. That first mark beyond the 3 is your 3 1/16. And remember to grab your scoring blade and not your cutting blade. That's why I mark mine with the word score. And then we're going to flip this over. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see what I did there. Just because I like to fold my cardstock. So if I put an indent here, I like to fold it away from that and towards the mountain. So we're going to flip it this way. And we're going to go to 4 1/4 inches. I love it. You guys are talking about the weather. Jenny even put up some emojis there. 25 degrees and still snowing. Okay, so now we're going to the 4 1/4 inch mark. And 4¼ by the way, by 5½ is the card size that fits our basic white medium envelopes. And so now we're going to fold this that direction. We're going to fold this that direction, right? So we're making a Z fold. That's the Z, like that. And we're going to, oops, sorry, it opens this way. And now we're going to put scenery on it, hence the name, 3 panels of scenery, Z fold. Use your bone folder. Let's grab that and just give everything nice, tight, crisp creases. Okay, and now we're going to add the paper. And for the paper, I have not cut that yet either. I was going to cut that in front of you. So we're going to grab that piece, and I believe we're doing this one here because it's got a navy background, and so putting it against the navy cardstock is really going to be stunning, right? Okay, so let's take that and we're going to trim out a piece. Let's see here. I think I was going to try to do it exactly on the same spot as my original pre-made card, but I don't think I'll be able to do that. So we'll just cut it here. We're going to cut this to 5¼ inches tall. So instead of 5½, we're bringing it up 1/4 inch because that way we'll have a thin border on the top and the bottom. So now we'll use our cutting blade, which is your dark blade. Make sure that the paper's pressed straight against the top here and cut. And I always cut in one direction. Typically I cut pushing upwards so that it pushes my cardstock flat against here. And then when the blade gets worn out on that side, I put a little dot there just to indicate, and I just did that with a Sharpie marker, just to indicate that that side of the blade is getting dull. And then what you do is you bring it down to this spot on your trimmer. There's a little wider spot there, and you can pop out your blade, flip it around, slide it back in, and then the other side is ready to go and nice and sharp. Now this one I've already used on that side, so I got to put it back. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, if you have designer paper, because some companies out there sell 8½ inch wide designer paper, so we're just going to go ahead and cut this to 8½ here. If you have designer paper that's 8½ inches wide, you want to cut it 8½ by 5¼ And you'll want to do that with even, the 12 by 12 designer paper. Just find a section that you really love and cut it to 8½ inches wide by 5¼ Keep it all together because then it's going to flow. The image is going to flow. Now starting on the left side, okay, because this is going to be the way the card opens is like this. So this is my left side. I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut at 3 3/8 inches. And it'll make sense. I know we scored at 3 1/16 here, so this panel here is really small, but we're extending the paper beyond because that way we're covering up whatever is going to peek out here, we're going to cover it up. So from here to here is 3 3/8 inches. So 3 3/8. And then we're going to cut the next section to 3 inches. And I know that might seem odd too because in here this is wider than 3 inches. But when this piece, which extends beyond, folds flat, it's going to cover up a portion here as well. So now we cut to 3 inches, and then what we should have left is 2 1/8 inches. You're so welcome, Antoinette. She was saying thank you for the tip on the blades. Okay, so there we go, 2 1/8 inches. Now keep these pieces together, especially if you have a very tough design to figure out how to fit back together, but these are pretty easy. And what other pieces should we get ready? Let's get a navy piece ready. We're going to cut a piece that is, and I'm just going to cut it to 4 1/4 here so that we don't use up the whole section. But I want to do a piece that is 1 inch, and I'll hold it on this side because I think it'll be easier. 1 inches. So I'm going to put it over here to the 1 inch mark. 1 inch by 4 1/4. And that measurement is not on the sheet that you're going to download, but it is because every card is different. So That's why you'll want to watch the video. So there's that piece. These two are scraps that you can save for some other day. Okay, we have that done, and I think I've already pre-cut another strip, and this is our basic white, and that is cut to 3/4 of an inch. And then we have one other piece, and that is our inside sentiment panel. And the panel for the inside where all the sentiments are, thank you, Jackie. Our sentiment piece this is an odd measurement. It's got a 16th in it as well. Is 1 13/16. So when you're looking at your paper trimmer, and I'll zoom in here, you're going to go to the 1 3/4 inch mark, which is this long one here, and then you're going to go one spot beyond it, and that is the 13/16. Okay? So 1 13/16 by 5 1/4 inches tall. Just the same type of height that you have on these other papers here, because it's just going to flow together. Alrighty, let's grab our ink and our punch. And we're going to punch first because it's good to know where the ends of our strips are going to go before we actually do any stamping. Zooming out a tad here. So this is our wonderful Banners Pick-a-Punch, which I use all the time. I'm actually showing you some really basic stuff here today. If you're a beginning crafter, you can totally remake this card. Punches are super affordable, and I want people to know that paper crafting can be affordable if you want to not go crazy in your first few purchases, right? So here we go. We've got a strip that is 3/4 of an inch wide. It fits into our channel. That's our middle section here. So between those two spots, there's a channel. The one that's on the very inside is a 1/2 of an inch. This is 3/4 of an inch, and this one is 1 inch. So it's meant to accommodate any of those size strips. If you have one in between or a little bit larger, you can make it work also. You just have to kind of shimmy it a bit. So we're going to push it all the way in and make sure it's sitting in the channel. And then we're going to check it to make sure it goes all the way to the back side, okay? You're welcome, Mary. She said, thanks for sharing how to find that 13/16. Okay, and then we've got, because then you would have had to sit there and count all those little tiny, tiny marks, right? 13 of them. Here we have the 1 inch one. We're going to set that all the way back. Make sure it's in there. And if your paper, mine's a little bit beyond the 1 inch mark, you can see just a tiny fraction of an inch because it doesn't sit in there very, you can see it's kind of warped, which is fine. It's still going to work. But if that happens, just, make sure that it's as straight as possible. Okay, we have our 2 layered pieces for our sentiment strip. And now we can stamp. So we're going to open up our ink pad. We're going to grab a stamp that says Best Wishes. And this one comes from, again, the Suite. See if I can find it here, because I forgot the page number. There it is. All right, so here we go. We can see that there's lots of, oh, I'm bringing it way too close to the camera. Sorry about that. You can see that there's lots of sentiments in here and some images. And all of these images, by the way, will die cut with the dies that you get if you purchase the whole suite. You can purchase the whole suite at once, or you can purchase the parts and pieces. When you purchase the stamp set and the dies together, you do save 10%, by the way. Yeah, all right. So, oh, there's another piece that's in that suite, by the way, that is really pretty. It's an embellishment that I'm going to show you towards the end of this card. So we're going to ink this up. The beauty of photopolymer stamps is that you can see right through them. So as we're stamping this down, we can really make sure that that is lined up and nice and straight onto our white strip. This piece is going to get added to our layer, our Night of Navy layer. And so we're going to, oh, not yet. Oh gosh, I knew I would do that. Stop, back up, pretend there's no adhesive on here. All right, we're going to take our first panel piece, and I believe that's this one, yes. We're going to take our first panel piece, and if there was no adhesive on here, we would lay it on here, and we would then flip it over and cut it. So I'm going to lay it this way because I kind of know where it's going to go. making sure that it's nice and straight. And you can, hold it on there nice and steady. You can put some temporary adhesive on there if you want to. I'm just going to do it with my hands, and I'm going to trim. And I'm using my wrong scissors. This is the one for cutting ribbon. Don't do that, you guys. Have one ribbon for scissors, or one scissors for ribbon and one scissors for paper. Okay, so now we've got a piece that is exactly how long I want it to be on that layer. Now we can add it to this layer. Alrighty, there. Yeah. Okay, now let's go ahead and do some assembling. Oh wait, one more thing to stamp. Let's stamp on this piece. We're going to stamp the words that say, wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. And we'll stamp that down here. The words are parallel to the top and bottom of the strip. And this one fits just perfectly within that space. This is what we do. We start with this layer. With a Z-fold card, you typically want to start with your innermost layers. And that's because when your Z-fold piece goes on top, it may need to cover up what's underneath. So if you put what's underneath in first, it's going to be easier. So flip this over and we'll put a little bit of adhesive in each of the four corners. And I'm going to turn it this way so I can hold it with both my hands, and I can see about 1/8 of an inch all the way around on those three edges, top, side, and bottom. Now I'm going to add the top piece. So we're going to fold this shut, and this is our top layer. And again, make sure that you know it's your top layer. Put your puzzle piece together. This kind of is related to the card we did last week, an extension kind of card, right? When you open it up, it shows off some pretty paper. By the way, I love the tips that people were giving. Add photos to that wrapped accordion fold. Add photos to all of those panels. So yes, you could definitely do that. Unless you have paper like, where did it go again? This one here is just, this is the perfect paper for doing an extension kind of card like that, because you want to see the whole scene. Okay, so now we're going to add this to this layer, and you can see that that layer is beyond, but it's also going to cover up, when this is folded shut, it's going to cover up that white panel right here. So for adhesive, you want to be careful not to put any adhesive here. So we're just going to lay that down. We're going to put adhesive on this side. We're going to put adhesive in the middle. And then we're going to put adhesive, avoiding the very top and very bottom, because again, we want to expose the very top and very bottom, but we're putting it right there so that we have it as far in as possible. And then we're going to lay it on top of here, looking at, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see, looking at the edges here, the bottom, and this edge here, okay? I'm looking at all four edges. I'm looking at the white underneath, and I'm making sure that I'm covering it all up as I go. So there, we've covered up the white. And now when we open it up, you can see that this extension goes beyond and into this area, which is why this piece is smaller. Now the next piece that we're going to add, and really you can add these in either order, but I did give you measurements so that when this is added in here, you still have the same distance between these two pieces here as you would between these two and these two. Now there is a crease there that you have to deal with, but as long as you're not going on top of the crease, okay? So let's go ahead and add some adhesive in here. How is the weather everywhere else, you guys? Have you been sharing? We have here in Minnesota snow that has been on the ground for quite some time. We have not seen our grass, but that's the way we like it here in Minnesota, right? And so it's probably going to be a white Christmas unless for some reason we have some warm weather that melts it all. But we got a good amount, at least in our area we do. So there, now we just add those two panels to make sure that the spaces are nice and even. And I used the white piece when adding this to kind of be a guide, so I knew how far apart to be from you know, from there, or you could use this edge here. But either way, you have about 1/8 of an inch between all of those panels. And it's just a nice surprise when you open up the card to see all of those flowers. So this piece gets added, and we're going to add that with a dimensional and with some adhesive. So we're going to put a dimensional right here on the end, and then we're going to put adhesive a little further back, about 2 inches behind that, the end of the banner. And we're going to add it to the front of the card so that this white edge lines up with the edge of the designer paper. So that's why I was lining it up with the designer paper before. So we'll add that. Oh, did I take the backing off? I did not. There we go. So we'll add that, and I'm looking at the paper edge being parallel to here. And we just press that in place, and then we lift this up, flip it over, and any excess adhesive that you have going beyond there, you're just going to trim it off anyways. So there is that. Now if you want to get fancy, we can add a couple fun things. So I'm going to close up this ink, and I'm going to bring in the designer paper again. But this time, we're going to do some die cutting. So we're going a little bit beyond the skill level of a beginner here, because we're bringing in a machine that die cuts some fun shapes and stuff. It's like a handy dandy punch that punches a whole bunch of stuff at once. Doesn't really punch it. It's called die cutting. We're going to lay down our platform, our die adapter plate, our cutting plate, which is nice and scratchy, because I like to put my dies going down. And then I've got some paper, and I think I'm going to use this scrap here because it has 2 pieces in it. And we're going to grab our paper scissors. It has 2 pieces in it that I'm going to cut, and we have to cut them separate. Oh, actually, you know what I could do? I could cut them away from each other, and then we can die cut them at the same time. So we'll just cut around this purple flower, and we're going to put these onto the platform of our machine. And we're going to grab sticky notes. And now we're going to bring in the dies. So in this suite, we have the stamps, we have the dies. And let's see if I can find them all here. Oh, they're up on this table. Found them. Okay. So these are the dies, these are the stamps, and you can see here that some of the stamps, or some of the dies, are like frames. So they cut around the images that are in the stamp set. So we could take and stamp this flower and then cut it out. The nice thing about the designer paper, and now it's limited, you can't do as many as you want, like you could with stamps, but the designer paper has some flower images and leaves that you can die cut as well. They line up, they look similar. As you can see here, they look similar in shape. And so this will cut out the same way that this one cuts out, with the same die. So we're going to pull that one. We're also going to pull the die that cuts out these leaves. You've got some fun detailed dies in here and some edge dies. Then you saw the paper already, right? I showed that to you. And then the other part of the suite are these glossy dots. The glossy dot assortment, and comes in gorgeous grape, melon mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Pool Party. And so very, very fun colors. We're going to lay this die on top of the leaf here. We're going to make sure that we don't see any white edge around it. Grab our little Post-it or sticky notes, and we're just going to stick that down. Actually, I'm going to stick it this way so it doesn't get caught in the machine weird. And then we're going to line this one up on here. Let's see here. Where does it go? It goes that way, so that I don't see any white edge around that one as well. Grab a sticky note and stick it down. That'll help hold it. We're going to put a cutting plate on top, sandwich that all together, and then we're going to guide it in and crank this handle. And the 2 rollers that are in the machine are going against each other, and they're pushing the dies against the paper. So the little tiny cutting part of the dies help to cut around those shapes. It's a really great tool to invest in. If you don't have a die cutting machine, I highly recommend it, because look what happens. Now we've got our leaves, and we've got our beautiful, gorgeous purple flower. Okay, let's take and put this off to the side. Whoops. And we're going to move on to finishing this card and starting another version of the card in a different way. So here we have our card almost complete. This little piece here, I'm going to put a bit of adhesive on, just the back side here, right towards the tip. You could use multi-purpose liquid glue or even a glue dot. I'm just going to use the regular seal, and I'm going to peel this up just a tad. And I'm going to tuck this under. Then I'm going to close it and make sure, yes, it'll all fit. So there's a fun little accent piece. Let's bring in these. And we're going to grab the yellow ones. And I'm going to grab the take your pick tool. Got a little gummy end here that's going to grab onto these pieces once I loosen them up. These are a little bit harder to just push and pull. So I'm going to kind of pop them off like this. And then I'm going to grab. Did it work? No, it didn't work. These are a little more grabby to their adhesive backing there. So let's open this up and just stick it down with our fingernail. That big one worked. Let's take this and grab it this way. There, we can lift it up like that. This one I want to put all the way down here. This tiny one, they get 3 sizes on here. I just love this. This tiny one will stick up here. And then we'll do another tiny one. There we go. We're going to put that one up in this corner. So now we see a little bit of an accent there, and when you open it up, there's a bunch more. So we have our beautiful wedding card or anniversary card. There we go. I knew I was going to get a little water coming up. It's like, you know, I went in a pool and swallowed water. It was a lot of water today, you guys. It was crazy. All is well. Okay, the next card is going to be done with this flower, basic black. We're going to bring those back in just a second here, but let's go through the steps one more time. Oh, you saw a peek of it, didn't you? You probably saw a peek of it in the video, but let's go through the steps one more time, and we'll go through quickly. So Mossy Meadow is the cardstock now. Mossy Meadow is in the neutrals pack, so is the Night of Navy. So you can get both of them by buying the neutrals pack of cardstock if you want to. We're going to the 5.5 inch mark, slicing. We're going to turn it this way, go to 3 1/16, and we're going to score. We're going to flip it this way, and we're going to score at 4.5. And now we're going to bend away from the valley towards the mountain, away from the valley towards the mountain. Set that aside for just a second. Let's crease with our bone folder. And crease with our bone folder. There's our base. Bring in the designer paper, which I have to grab. It's over here. Over here. This one. There's so many pretty papers, you guys. Okay, and we are going to cut at, I think we're cutting here. So we're going to cut at 5 1/4 inches. Then we're going to cut to 8.5. And that will be the full piece that we get to display on this scenery card. So there's a little hint of purple flowers over here. We're going to cut this from the left side, or you could say top, by the way. So if you've made this card and you want it to open vertically, this would be the top, and if it's opening horizontally, this is the left. Okay, we're going to go to the 3 3/8 and slice 3 inches and slice, and then this one should be 2 1/8, which it is. There's all of that. We've got another piece that I've already pre-cut. This is our sentiment panel. Yes, you don't have to do your sentiment panels in white. This one, again, measures 1 13/16 by 5 1/4. And then we've got a strip of black that is 1 inch tall. We're going to cut that with the banner punch. So let's bring the banner punch back in. Now on the first card, notice I said, you know, this is beginners. You don't have to worry about the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. You don't have to add that little leaf accent. I just did that because it was fun and because I was using the dies on this second card. So the second card, you know, you can fussy cut around the flowers. You can fussy cut around the leaves. It's up to you. Again, these cards all fit into the medium size envelopes. Okay, so for this one, we're going to stamp, and I think what we're going to do is stamp after. I'm going to risk it. Usually you want to stamp before in case you make a mistake. You can flip it over and stamp again, but we're just going to go ahead and add it in, and you'll see why. So we're going to add adhesive here. This is our sentiment strip panel. We're going to put that right there. Then we're going to do the front panel, which is this one. Make sure it's going in the right direction. So we put adhesive along here, in the middle, and then right along this edge so that we're avoiding the top and the bottom. Flip it over, line this paper up with the paper that's underneath, and make sure we have 1/8 of an inch edging all around. There we go. And then we'll open it this way, and we're going to add these 2 panels on the inside. This one has a little bit more of a, you notice this? Look at that. I might have cut my paper a little bit wider because it's going right up to that edge. So you know what I'm going to do on this one? I'm going to push it in there and make sure I can close it without it buckling because it's right up to that spot, that little edge, that crease, I should say. Okay, and this one sits right between. So pretty. This paper is so gorgeous. So for this one, we didn't have to worry about lining it up with the paper on this edge. We're lining it up with this edge. So I'm just going to add it straight across like this. By the way, this did measure, I forgot to tell you, it was 1 inch by probably 4 1/8 inches. Yes, 4 1/8. So we're going to lay that on here like this. Oh, and I'm going to go kind of in the middle, upper middle, like that. And I think I'm going to go even further in. We're going to go a little bit further in so that our banner sits really kind of center set there. See that? Looks better, a little pushed in. So now we can take and flip this and trim it. So a 4-inch piece would work just fine. Okay, this piece is going to get put on with dimensionals. Just add a couple. And we'll set it like that so it looks centered from the front. We're going to grab our, here they are, our glossy dots again. Grab the Take Your Pick tool, kind of bend the backing here so that we can lift it up like that. Add this one here, the middle one on the other side, down lower, and a little tiny one next to the big one, like that. We'll open it all the way up. We'll grab our stamp. We'll grab our Tuxedo Black ink. And what we want to do, in fact, your grid paper will help here, is we want to, I'm going to mark this so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to mark right here, and I'm going to keep the card still as I open it up. This is where I want to center my sentiment, because it just kind of looks like there's a flow of the black coloring through the card that way. And that is that finished card. Super quick, super easy. I will put this card on my blog so you can take a peek at that later on. This one is also using newer product. It's the regular card with a half sheet of cardstock. So it measures 5.5 by 8.5. And it's using the new By the Bay suite of products. So pretty. I'll also put, if I can find it again, let me put it somewhere. Here it is. I'll have this one up on my blog too. I just don't have them posted today. So if you want to come back and visit, you can subscribe to my blog, my website, so that you can see these cards and see other projects that I share. All right, let's zoom in. We have one more. That one looks like this. So it's positioned horizontally now. This, thank you, Luann. This one's positioned horizontally. When you look at it, when you open it, it opens the long way this way. All right. So instead of having, does that make sense? So this is vertical when it's closed. This one's horizontal when it's closed. I guess I shouldn't have said it was horizontal all the way, because when you open it, it's more vertical. So there we go. Oh, now I should zoom out. So this is the vertical opening up version of it. When you open it up top to bottom, we'll just say it that way. Okay. So I had to show off that pretty paper. There's just so many pretty floral papers in this suite. I tucked one of the die cut leaves right in there. Again, you could stamp instead of using the designer paper. I also tucked one up in here, and the way that I did that is I gave the illusion that it was just kind of, floating in there, but there is a 1-inch wide strip here that I cut with the same circle die as I cut this white circle behind it. So they're both cut the same way. You could stamp before or after, because again, these are photopolymer stamps. You can see through them. This is just a little bit larger layer, and it's done on fresh freesia cardstock, which is the color that I have here. So, yeah. Oh, and then the ribbon. The ribbon is our Parakeet Party ribbon. That is our metallic woven ribbon. Very fun stuff. So let's take a peek at all of those cards now as they're sitting open in front of us. These are all the cards that will be featured today in my blog post. I'm so glad that you guys stopped by. We have prizes, we have news to share. Oh, and I also have a new product that I forgot to share in my box opening. So I did a box opening this past weekend. I got some new stuff, including some of the stuff that you just saw on those two other cards. And I did a box opening on Facebook, but I moved it over to YouTube. So if you're watching the video that was posted just this past weekend, you might start rolling into it. And then all of a sudden Rachel goes, oh, by the way, I'm just doing this live on Facebook right now. It's going to be brought over to you. So sorry if that confused anybody. But yes, the box opening you'll want to peek at. You want to see all the goodies there, things that I got. But on my table, in the upper left, I had other new product that I wanted to share. It was just a couple other things, but it was one of my favorites. And after I stopped the video, I was so sad. So I'm going to show that to you really quickly in just a second. Actually, let's do the news. Let's do the prize drawing, and then I'll show it at the end. Does that sound good? Remind me, because I am reading your comments here and there when I can catch them. Okay. All right. So prizes. We have winners from the last week's live that I've already pulled up. And because that site was not working as far as links go, I couldn't, like normally they give you this share a link so you can actually show a visual of the person's name. That wasn't working. So I have to just tell you the names. So last week, and these prize winners, by the way, get this prize. So hang on, let me find it. This is the pearls, so you get a half pack of By the Bay designer paper, half of a pack of this, and you get a package of the iridescent pearls. So again, last week's winners. And I have to tell you that let's see here, one of the winners last week drawn during the live did not get back to me yet. So Jill Merryday, please get back to me because you get a half a pack of this paper and some pearls. The other two after live winners we had on Facebook, Cindy Kittner, and on YouTube, Sherry Wilker. So congratulations to all of you. Yay. I'm just waiting to mail them to you. So congratulations. And then for this week, this is what you get. You get a pick. We'll just do it this way. You get a pick between any of these celebration stamp sets. So I have collected a few because you'll see when you watch the box party. I've ordered a lot of the new stuff, and so I earned a bunch of stuff. Demonstrators get to earn stuff early. So we have the Thanks a Bunch and the Adorable Owls as your choices if you are a winner. And Trisha Josephs is going to call out our 2 winners. I'm going to tidy this stuff up. By the way, reach out to me if you are a winner. See, my email address is still up there. Wanted to show that to you. News. What do we have for news? Last Chance products. We'll just do this here while I'm getting the desk ready. Last Chance products, and some of them are discounted. You'll want to get in on that this month through January 4th. The supplies are from the mini catalog that we currently have, and that one looks like this, and it is retiring. So a lot of products are going bye-bye. You have till the January 4th to get them, or until supplies last. Our winners today, Deborah McLean and Susan Sanders. Congratulations. Yay. In fact, I'm going to see if I can do this. Ta-da. So reach out to me to claim your prize. Isn't that fun? I know how to do that now. Yay. So you get to pick from one of those celebration stamp sets that I just shared. So let's go ahead down to the desktop real quick before we go. And I want to show you the Thanks a Bunch. We've got some designer paper. We got some basic white cardstock here. We're going to take some images in this amazing new freebie. This is free with a $50 order once January 5th hits. Or if you're a demonstrator, you can earn this now with a $50 order on your demonstrator order. So I'm going to grab my inks here. Oh, do you see this bunny punch? Super cute too. So let's take our pumpkin pie and our large carrot, and we're just going to go ahead and ink and stamp that down. We'll stamp it down a couple times. And then we're going to take this one. This one is kind of funky. It's this one here. Okay, so we're using those 2 images. And we're going to stamp that down. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm going to zoom in. And we're going to use full ink, and we're going to go right down on top like that. You can barely see it. We're going to stamp again on this one. And what it does is it gives a little bit of texture to your carrots. Now, if you want to, you can also do this. You can stamp off on your paper, stamp over here. Got a bunch of carrots now. And then with this one, use full ink. So experiment with your inks to see. I mean, if you're using Mango Melody, or if you're going to make a carrot that's yellow, because you can get these carrots in lots of different colors. So you could do it that way so it's real prominent like that if you want. Then you take, I think it's this one. Yes, it's this one with the green. So I've got my Granny Apple green color. And you just stamp that right above a couple times, right? And you're building up some greenery on top of your carrots. And see how some of them are stamped off and some are stamped on? Same thing here. Stamp a couple off to the side. Oops. So fun. Love it. Let's flip it over. Let's take the tinier carrot, and we're going to stamp that this way. And you can use that same, where is it? Because, these guys come with really long stems, don't they? So you can use that same one on that piece. These tinier carrots, they're so cute. You could even use this greenery. So there's another one that's more like, oops, I didn't stamp it all the way, but you get the idea, right? It's such a fun set. We also have a leaf that's in the set. I'm going to stamp that in green. And then, you know what, let's just stamp it again before re-inking, just so we have a lighter version. And then we've got this little image here, which is similar to the one that you get with the carrot. And you can just go on top of, okay, I didn't line them up well, but you got the idea. It just gives texture to it. And I just could not stand the fact that I forgot to share this in my last box only, because it's one of my favorites. That one and the owl set, those two are my favorites. Here's the bunny punch. You'll want to invest in the bunny punch so that you can do some fun stuff with that carrot set, right? Alrighty. I think that's it. I'm going to let you guys all go. I don't have any other news except for the fact that you'll want to get in on that tutorial. Visit my blog at stampyourartout.com. Then go to Shop tab, then scroll down to Tutorials so you can purchase it. Or if you place an order in my online store, you can earn it for free with a $50 order. If you're a demonstrator, order from yourself. You always get the best benefits when you order from yourself. If you have another demonstrator, show them some love. Thank you for stopping by today. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you enjoyed this. Give me the thumbs up if you can. I appreciate it. And I hope that you're back next week. We're going to be live again on December 14th at 11 a.m. Central Time. Vegetables are fun, aren't they, Carol? All right. Take care, everyone. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.